Fans are in complete shock after learning that love and hip-hop star Mendeecees was taken to the hospital following a suspected overdose. This development has shocked his inner circle and reportedly stopped production. Is this a call for assistance? A medical emergency or something more sinister related to the demands of fame and reality TV? Stay tuned because what we've discovered behind the scenes is far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. Mendeecees, who is well known to millions as a key figure on Love and Hip Hop New York, is now at the center of a tragic and enigmatic turn of events. Just days ago, according to production-related sources, Mendeecees was taken to the hospital in an emergency, and preliminary reports suggest he may have overdosed. Since then, chaos has broken out both within his family and on the set of the show, with insiders claiming that filming has been halted indefinitely. However, the main question on everyone's mind is what actually happened. And we're delving deeply into the entire situation from the timeline of events that led to his hospitalization. You'll hear the latest from Yandy cryptic responses from production insiders and what fans have been researching about Mendeecees' recent behavior. You won't believe some of the shocking details that were purposefully kept out of headlines until now. This is where things take a serious turn, and you don't want to miss a second of what we're about to uncover. On the surface, it appeared to be just another hectic day on set with cameras rolling. Mendeecees had wrapped a tense scene involving co-stars, and insiders say he appeared slightly off but not alarming. However, what happened next caught everyone off guard and sparked a series of behind-the-scenes decisions that few could have imagined. According to a source close to the production, he excused himself from filming at midday, claiming he wasn't feeling well. Staff assumed it was stress or exhaustion, nothing unusual, but 30 minutes later, an assistant reportedly discovered him collapsed in his trailer, unresponsive and surrounded by signs of what some are describing as a potential overdose scenario. Emergency services were contacted right away, and within minutes, medics arrived and took Mendeecees to a nearby hospital in an undisclosed location. Producers hurried to contain the scene and reportedly ordered a stop to all filming activities. Crew members were made to sign confidentiality waivers on the spot, which many found suspicious. What's even more unsettling is that another anonymous crew member stated that this wasn't the first time they had noticed signs that Mendeecees was struggling. Over the past few weeks, there had been rumors of mood swings, exhaustion, and even noticeable changes in his demeanor. One insider shared that he didn't seem like himself and was withdrawn, hardly interacting with people. Used to joke around and laugh all the time, but within hours of the incident, fans noticed something odd. Mendeecees' social media accounts went silent, and all planned promotional posts involving him were discreetly removed. This led to a lot of online speculation about whether Mendeecees was dealing with a mental health crisis, whether there was something more sinister going on behind the scenes that no one wanted to discuss, or whether the demands of public life had finally pushed him over the edge. Here's the worst thing Mendeecees had recently. Just days before the incident, he shared a mysterious message on his Instagram stories that read, "Some days the smile is just a mask." It's now being re-examined in a whole new light, with fans wondering if it was a silent cry for help. But this is only the beginning, because in the next section, we're uncovering what his wife, Yandy knew before the public did, and the emotional voice note she sent to a close friend that may reveal everything. Stay tuned, because what Yandy revealed in private has never been heard publicly until now. We're taken aback by the news of Mendeecees' medical emergency, but those closest to him, particularly his wife, Yandy, had already been coping with a flurry of emotions behind the scenes. What the public didn't see was that Yandy had been deeply worried for weeks. Those close to the couple have disclosed that she'd been attempting to keep everything together in private, even as she balanced her roles as a mother, businesswoman, and reality TV personality. However, it was a voicemail purportedly sent to a longtime friend. In the since-deleted tape, Yandy can be heard sobbing, "I don't even know who he is anymore," just days before the hospitalization that gave a very different picture of what was actually happening in their home. The comments, "He comes home and he's distant. He's not sleeping. I try to talk to him, but he just shuts down. I'm scared. I don't want to lose him," were a shock to fans and others in Mendeecees' inner circle who hadn't realized the depth of her downward spiral. According to insiders, Yandy had been advising Mendeecees to take a vacation from filming and the demands of public life. but he allegedly insisted on continuing to make appearances, telling her, "I've been through worse, I'll be fine." Unfortunately, it appears that he was secretly disintegrating behind that courageous exterior. Friends have recently come forward to verify that Yandy had also contacted a therapist and looked into health retreat possibilities, indicating that she was making an effort to assist Mendeecees. Even more shocking is the fact that production sources now acknowledge that there had been tension on set regarding Mendeecees' mental state, with several producers allegedly wanting to write him out temporarily due to concerns about his health. Long before things spiraled out of control, the source close to Yandy claimed she had been waking up in the middle of the night in tears, fearing that Mendeecees was emotionally shutting her out. She felt as though she was losing her best friend, not just her husband. In retrospect, this might have been a costly error, as fans have been examining old interviews and episodes to find evidence of tension in his body language and tone, and even how Yandy would look at him during tense scenes. His guarded expressions and decreased on-camera energy now read like a series of silent red flags. But if you think this is intense, wait until you hear what one of Mendeecees' closest childhood friends revealed after the scene inside the hospital. Room was drastically different from what anyone had anticipated. Mendeecees Harris, who is typically strong, stoic, and calm under pressure, was now hooked up to monitors, his eyes barely open as he battled waves of exhaustion and disorientation. However, it wasn't just the beeping machines or the sterile walls that shocked those who visited him. It was his confession made there that left even his closest friends stunned. Mendeecees broke his silence during a late-night visit after doctors stabilized him. According to a longtime friend from his Harlem days who has chosen to remain anonymous for the time being, the friend told media outlets, "He looked me dead in the eye and said, 'Bro, I wasn't trying to end it. I just wanted peace for a few hours. Everything's so damn loud all the time. I just wanted the noise to stop.'" That one statement peeled back layers of unresolved pain that he had apparently been experiencing. Caring for years, fans who followed his journey from prison to redemption on Love and Hip Hop have witnessed his tenacity, but they have rarely seen his vulnerability. This moment demonstrated how deeply things had gone behind closed doors. His friend shared more, discussing the pressure to be a perfect husband, father, and community leader, but he claimed to feel as though he was drowning in expectations that no matter what he did, someone would be let down. What shocked fans even more was the friend's admission that he felt like he was drowning in expectations that no matter what he did. Even more alarming was his claim that the pressure of being filmed while dealing with inner demons only made matters worse. "They wanted the drama, but I was dying inside," Mendeecees allegedly said. He admitted to having panic attacks for months, something he allegedly kept from even Yandy to avoid worrying her. A medical staff member whose identity we have confirmed but are protecting said that Mendeecees came in showing signs of a substance reaction, consistent with an accidental overdose of a dangerous combination of alcohol and over-the-counter sleep medication. Authorities are not treating the case as a suicide attempt, but they have confirmed that a full mental health evaluation is underway. The implications of this confession have sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. When news of Mendeecees' hospitalization hit the set, it wasn't just a ripple. It was a tsunami of emotion and panic. Yandy Smith Harris was filming a promotional segment for the upcoming season of Love and Hip Hop when her phone rang, and it was said that the color drained from her face as she answered. Fans are now wondering how many more reality TV stars are suffering in silence while pretending to smile for the cameras. But just when you thought the revelations couldn't get any more intense, what happened next will leave you completely stunned. Immediately after, she pushed past the production crew, dropped the microphone, and broke down in tears on the studio floor. Insiders on the set that day claimed that the producers, camera operators, and security all froze. Despite her reputation for being strong and composed under pressure, Yandy was distraught and kept yelling, No, this isn't happening again." A crew member revealed it seemed like a long-suppressed anxiety had suddenly surfaced, one she had attempted to conceal over the years of reconstruction and public strength. And this is where it gets even more intense. Production sources confirmed that Yandy demanded an immediate and permanent stop to filming, saying, "This is not entertainment anymore. This is our real life, and my husband might not make it." Production didn't fight back because they knew they were witnessing a real-life crisis unfold behind closed doors. and executives started frantically pulling cameras, postponing schedules, and assembling a crisis PR team. VH1 was activated, and the showrunners were aware that if the situation was handled poorly, it could cause a significant public backlash. After all, the reality TV industry has been criticized for using trauma to boost ratings, and this time the line may have been crossed. But the cameras had already captured one last eerie clip of Yandy calling her teenage children to explain why Daddy wouldn't be coming home that night. She was shaking and barely able to speak, but she was trying to keep her composure for their some crew members shared. "I've worked on dozens of shows, but I've never seen a moment that real and raw. Nobody was acting. We weren't even sure if we should have been there." A few days later, the network formally announced that production was paused out of respect for the cast's mental health and to provide space for personal healing. But sources close to the situation told a different story. Yandy demanded a halt as a non-negotiable boundary, and just when it appeared that things were winding down, another twist appeared. A leaked internal memo from the network hinted at a potential long-term cancellation of the show due to unsustainable emotional conditions for the cast. But wait, what transpired between Mendeecees and Yandy behind the hospital curtain shocked even those who believed they had seen it all. After hours of uncertainty, Mendeecees finally regained consciousness. In the intensive care unit, sedated, groggy, and weak. Within minutes, Yandy was at his bedside, and according to a family source, what transpired in that room behind those closed hospital doors would alter everything. At first, Yandy sat in silence, holding his hand and sobbing quietly for all of their public arguments, parenting disputes, reality TV scandals, and years of standing strong through prison sentences. Nothing prepared her for the possibility of losing Mendeecees for real. He whispered her name, and then reportedly his first words were not, "I'm okay," or "What happened, but I didn't think I'd make it," and all I could think about was, "What I never told you." What did he mean? That's when Mendeecees allegedly started talking about the mental pressure he'd been hiding behind the happy interviews and colorful Instagram posts for months. He acknowledged that he had been fighting internal demons and that the pressure to maintain the image of the ideal man who had been redeemed from prison, the expectations of social media and fame had started to wear him down. He allegedly stated, "Every time I looked at you and the kids, I felt like I was failing." But this is the part that really shocked Yandy and the public when the story was leaked. Mendeecees admitted to self-medicating. It was said that he had been taking anti-anxiety medications prescribed to him after being released from prison, but he started combining them with alcohol to numb the mental strain. What began as a coping mechanism turned dangerously into something more serious than drugs for partying. It was about pain that had never been addressed. Mendeecees made Yandy promise him something if he didn't make it. This is where it gets even more personal. During his childhood, he was imprisoned and felt inadequate in a world that was always criticizing his every move. He later told a friend that he wasn't trying to die, but rather to escape. Their conversation reportedly lasted hours without producers or cameras, just two people stripped of the lights and filters facing their ugliest truth. Black males need to talk openly about mental health, but Yandy didn't wait for the worst. Instead, she assured him that when he left the hospital, he would have a new life. She reportedly remarked, "We're not picking up where we left off. We're starting over, no more masks, no more hiding." That evening, she called a trauma therapist and VH1's top executive. She offered them the option to assist them in sharing their true narrative about pain, healing, and second chances, or she would leave. Good, and at that point the network began negotiating a new season plot, potentially changing the show's identity to something more emotionally honest and genuine, not just about hip-hop and love, but also about healing and redemption.